I don't like to rehearse what I'm going to say when I make these. I don't have a prompter. I don't write down a speech and memorize it. I don't do any of that. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. I do my best to be honest. I'm authentic. I'm me. I'm who God created me to be. And for way too long, I let people make me feel small. I allowed them to keep me small, and I stayed quiet because for a long time, people acted like they weren't listening. And what God revealed to me is that they were listening. They just didn't want anyone else to listen. They had to keep me small so they could feel big, when all I ever did was love them. And I was kind, and I was generous, and they just kept stabbing me. And I've learned to carry it so well, because when I would go to people to talk about what I'd been through, people didn't want to hear it. And I understand that a lot of it is because people are just carrying their own stuff, and it's already too heavy for them. So they couldn't carry what I had. They weren't in the space to be able to handle it. And I don't blame them. There were people like that, and then there were the people that were just jealous. But I kept going around all these people. No one could hold space for me. Very few people could, but because I was not used to that, I ran away from those people. I can see now the ones that God put on my path at certain points in my life that could hold space for me, how important that was, but how I wasn't ready. Because I had been groomed by the enemy for so long that it took a long time for me to come out of it. Like coming out of the wilderness. I was in captivity for so long that I wanted to go back to being in captivity because it was where I was comfortable. I didn't know how to be free. Whew. That was a revelation to me. Been tiptoeing around that for a while, but a lot of what I went through was really painful. And God has helped me heal so much of that. But some of it still hurts. And I thought that I had to have that all completely healed in order to be able to help people. And it started to click into place. That I don't need to be completely healed to help other people. Because I can boast in my weakness. And God's strength shows up in that. Because I can't do any of this without God. Without God, I would have took my own life. Without God, I would still be drinking myself to death. Without God, I would be homeless, or I would be sold into slavery. So many things could have gone differently, but God showed me mercy and favor. He pulled me out of those places, and He said, enough is enough. You're not going back to those spaces and those people ever again. I'm going to bring you to the land of milk and honey. No more will you be a slave. No more will you be captive to the Egyptians. Glory be to God for bringing us out of those spaces. Even though it's hard, even though it can be uncomfortable, even though we don't always know what to do or what it's supposed to look like, we just trust God. Even through our trauma, even when it hurts like hell, even when our trauma lies to us, and we have a hard time believing God for the things that He promises us, we're coming out of that bondage, and we're growing in our faith. And we are truly understanding who we are in God, who we are in Christ, who we were always meant to be.